The following content is graphic. Parental discretion is advised.
If I thought the father was a threat, I would not approach the child. If I thought that the child had friends that he would tell, I would not approach him. If I thought the child had friends that were in the same capacity he was, I would approach him. For the simple fact that if I could molest him, I could lure him into believing, grooming him into believing that he would enjoy it. And therefore, I could manipulate him into having his other friends come and be molested by me as well.
This is so hard to talk about. I mean, the thought of him living and waiting, you know, for your child, waiting for you. Maybe what if you got mad at your kid because he did something, you know, and you grounded him, you know? So here he is, he's feeling bad, and here comes along Leland Stevenson to go, oh, poor Michael, you know, and I think that's how they work. You know, they prey on these children and how they can stand up and tell people what they believe in and that there's nothing that you can do about it. I don't understand our judicial system. He had picked up my son and a friend of his, and they were walking from my house to his friend's house. And he just picked them up, stopped, pulled over, asked them if they wanted a ride, and they accepted.
He's asking us questions like all kinds of stupid questions, and every time we'd say something to him, he'd take out a piece of paper and write it down.
Mike on one occasion and Anthony on another flirted with me, I thought, in a very flagrant but wonderful way. By flagrant, I mean they made it completely obvious that they were flirting in a sexual way or talking in a sexual way, because this was their nature, because they were having a good time, because they understood that someone appreciated this aspect of their life, of their being.
We knew he was kind of weird. Like, we was walking up, and Michael thought he knew him. He was coming through, he was walking at my house. And Michael thought he knew him, but he didn't. He said, well, y'all want to ride? We said, yeah. And so we started going up the hill.
Mike was 12, I believe, and Anthony 13 when I was driving along the road in West Virginia, and Mike flagged me down to give them a ride. And the wonderful thing about it was that it was no fuss at all. They both went out of their way to flirt.
I love them.
What is there in boys that you love?
I don't know. It's just I have all my life been attracted to younger boys. I go back from the time I was about 8 years old. I could say I wanted a little brother, and I've always just been interested in little boys.
I was flabbergasted like anybody else, but hearing this shocking type of ideas. And I investigated a little further, and I found out that lo and behold, this idea wasn't that bad as they seemed to be from far away. And so, and then all of a sudden, all my childhood memory came back to me, and I saw myself doing those acts with other children, and I thought that they were decent acts. I thought they were wholesome acts. I certainly enjoy myself, and I thought we had lots of fun, and I thought of those times with fondness.
As far as what actually happened, I thought I was talking him into it, but later I discovered that he enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, because I had been convinced by people that kids that size aren't sexual. And myself, I really didn't have a lot of strong sexual feelings at 10. But this particular person enjoyed this quite a lot, it turned out.
I became sexually active when I was 8, but that was with younger boys. You know, the first boy that I went with was 7, At the time, we were best friends. And that went on for 2 years. I didn't have any relationships with an adult until I was 10. How did it go? Well, I knew he was gay. He was one of my karate instructors. And, you know, I just kind of came on to him, you know. And I knew what I was doing. You know, I was fully aware of what I was doing. You know, but I was very attracted to him at the time.
You felt you had the power in the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah, I felt very empowered by the relationship. I felt that I controlled the relationship. You know, which is a good thing for a kid, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that also, you know, tends to dispel the belief that, you know, that adults are always the ones in power in such relationships. I let him around. You know, I was the one in power.
I'm definitely not out as far as being public about it. There are close friends of mine who know, people I've known for years and know me well know. But as far as being out with acquaintances and companions that I have on a daily basis, I'm definitely not.
What we do know is that nobody chooses their sexual orientation, that people discover what's appealing to them. They don't decide what's appealing to them. What they have more choice or decision about is how they deal with such desires, whether they pursue them or not, or try to inhibit them, or what their attitudes are towards them.
I've been picked up where I worked. I've been picked up on the street. I've been called up on the telephone and asked to come in.
How many times have you been in prison?
Huh?
How many times?
I've been in prison twice. Really, I just don't try. I try to avoid boys.
How do you do it?
Just avoid them.
And sometimes you can't?
Sometimes I can't, right. But pretty much I do. Just live by myself and to myself.
And you're willing to sit in jail for your passion?
I don't have a choice.
I hadn't done anything. I'd never done anything, but I'd always heard things on the news and everything saying that anybody who liked boys sexually would be a monster and would kill these kids or would do these horrible things, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stop myself from doing that, and so I had a war with myself for about 6 years. I went to therapy in many different places around the country, and finally I started realizing that they weren't being genuine with me. They really duped me. I was very well indoctrinated into the system.
Just desperate and rather ignorant.
Yes,
I don't know if I could be able to do it with you.
Oh, Peter.
How many of the boys for whom they were then in prison came to visit the prisoner who had supposedly molested them as an expression of their affection for the person with whom they had a loving and consensual relationship.
Thank you for taking that moral and beating it over the head into the opportunity to stage orgies has not yet occurred. Mm-hmm. And probably Damla won't be around when it becomes possible to do so.
In Europe, since the late 50s, support groups for pedophiles have been popping up to actively fight the age of consent laws. The Dutch have established the most liberal consent laws in the world. The official age of consent in the Netherlands is 16, yet adults are not prosecuted for engaging in sexual relations with a child above the age of 12, as long as the child's parents and the social worker approve.
How many high schools are there around here?
Oh, there's Clinton, there's Bronx Science, and then beyond there is another high school, all within about 5-10 minutes walk of each other. This is very familiar. I moved here so that I would have a minimum of traveling time and could devote most of my time to work.
I don't know, I kind of think it's a disgrace, but then again, we never know who else. I mean, we never know if other teachers are like KKK members and stuff. So, I mean, we don't know about their past, and just because we know about one, you know? So, I mean, I think it's his business, but still, it's kind of disgusting. He works in a school with kids, and he's like a child molester. But that's my opinion.
Oh, this brings back memories. This seems to be a problem on whether sex education should occur in the schools, and somehow it's not a problem in other countries. When I taught in Scotland, it was part of the science course. I like teaching because I like boys. And as I said before, liking boys doesn't mean that you want to have sex with them. Okay, it's much broader than that.
Don't you think it's a matter of concern to parents that someone who teaches their children would spend hours with them every day believes that what we consider child molesting should be legalized?
I'm busy. You're interrupting my routine. I'm going shopping. Thank you very much.
News 4 has learned that the Board of Education, the Inspector General's office, and even a former principal here at the Bronx High School of Science have known about Meltzer's NAMBLA affiliation.
But he shouldn't be teaching.
Why not?
He should molest his 12-year-olds.
How do you know?
They said it on TV.
Parents that someone who teaches their children would spend hours with them every day believes that what we consider child molesting.
If you cannot judge a person by what he does, when he does it, but only by his thoughts and by his private activities, then you can't hire anybody. There'll be no one left to do anything. Well, one can't be angry at that. One can only say that it's sad that at least the current society's mentality is such that this kind of argument works.
The whole thing about Mr. Meltzer, it's much ado about nothing. It's a load of crap. He didn't do anything. He's not an active pedophile as far as we know, and there's really no point in persecuting him for it. If he believes in a concept, then you can't persecute him for that. That's in your head. Then we might as well start persecuting everyone else, you know, who has concepts we don't agree with.
Dear Mr. Meltzer, please be advised that effective immediately, you're not to enter the Bronx High School of Science until further notice. Should you have any questions relative to these instructions, this kind of notice really hurts. And when I can look out my window and see the school, and it's like Moses looking across to the promised land.
Leland has graduate degrees in law and philosophy. He has been a Mormon representative in Texas and a missionary in Hong Kong. In India, he photographed child pornography and was put in a California prison for 5 years.
In general, there are lots of boys that precisely want to do that. That is what they want to do. They make it clear, and they simply do it. They don't. That is to give a blowjob. That's what to give head, as the saying goes. That's what they want to do, and they do it. That is, this boy simply did it in a magnificently gentle, tender sort of way, in which you could sense he was putting his whole heart and life into this experience. That is what was so exceptional about it, and it produced a remarkable sensation, and I may say a rather speedy climax, in spite of the fact that it was being done in such a gentle way.
What is the fantasy? What the thoughts come into your mind in such a time?
Curiously, the most powerful feelings that are evoked are religious feelings. I want to sing praises to the Almighty for having created anything so beautiful, so spectacularly wonderful. This is what is going on in me.
Anthony sat down next to me, and Leland was sitting there staring at Anthony. And that gave me the creeps. I mean, he was just staring, looking at him like he was a piece of meat, up and down, because Anthony just had a pair of shorts on.
He kept making excuses to pull up his shirt and show me his belly in a highly flirtatious way to any ordinary boy lover such as myself, a very exciting and appealing way. There's another bakery down there. Italian Food Center, sandwiches and catering. Okay. A little bit, yeah, I'll certainly eat something. Well, there's, I don't see too much. Looks bakery-esque in there for sure. Is somebody gonna call you up?
That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Get up.
So what happened?
What? You made the phone ring.
Oh, you made the phone ring. Oh, well, let's see how you did that.
Oh, jeez. You're just very hard. No, you can't get in trouble for doing that.
No.
Do this again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, not bad.
You answer it.
Hey, how can I get the secret?
Dial 660 and the last number is very cool.
660, and what's the rest of it?
The last 4 digits of that phone number.
Of that phone. 660 plus the last 4 digits of that phone, and that'll do it.
Yeah, but you
Very
can't give
good.
it to anybody else.
Oh, goodness, okay.
You do it to the phone.
That'll be our secret then.
No, that's on radio.
He was so eager to tell me when his birthday was, and he was going to be 15 in less than a month on the 1st of December. And this is what life is about. This is what real life is about. I would say that he was in bloom, and that's it. The flower is responding to warmth. That is, I as a human being am bathing him in a certain kind of celestial warmth, and he feels that, and he responds to that, and he thinks, oh, how nice, how wonderful that there's someone there who is appreciating what I am and who I am. So, with Jason, my first aim would be to get a feeling for his psychological space, which I may say I did. While I was talking to him, while I was with him, I was attempting to evaluate the degree to which he is neurotic. I was walking along the beach on one occasion and met a boy in his early teens who was friendly, open, appealing, and who was very responsive to my friendship. That is, not only was his space open, he wanted it to be open. He wanted to share his life with me. So in the course of our friendship, we went on a camping trip arranged by him, in which the intent was to achieve intimacy. This was his idea. And in order to further this idea, he arranged that the sleeping bags would be zipped together so that there would be no barrier to the creation of this experience. Now, with appropriate affection and fondling and whatnot, we passed the night, and on awakening in the morning, he positioned himself in such a way that nature would take its course, and he would experience within himself a part of the body of his friend. And so, laying as he did on his side and producing the natural consequence of this event, I may say that this was sufficiently stimulating that no lubricant was required. That is, nature or life simply produced its own for this occasion. He experienced what he wanted to experience, and I certainly on that occasion experienced something that was very precious and fulfilling to me as well.
I'd probably kill him. Honest, I probably would, if he would have bothered my kids. That's why one of the reasons I wanted him away from here, because he wouldn't seek any help to stop this problem that he has. And if he would have got a hold of my kids, it wasn't any good to kill him or 100 of them then. So that's why I was trying to just kind of preventive medicine, you might say, to getting him out of town now.
But whenever people started shooting at me or shooting at him with rifles around here, I told him he better get out of here before he got his killing done.
I had, of course, various kinds of threats of death. It seemed that the universe was saying it was time to move on, at least for a while. I'm eager to bring this back another day, another time.
In ancient Greece, it was common for mature men to mentor young boys, teaching them the arts or philosophy, while also engaging in sexual activity with them. Sexual games between students and teachers were said to enhance the bond between them and thus facilitate learning. In Sparta, military tradition dictated that soldiers bring their young boy trainees to practice and battle. A soldier's courage was thought to be strengthened by his desire to defend his young lover and be a role model. Presents were given as rewards to the heroes of Sparta and Thebes. In Sicily, on Mount Eris, in the sanctuary of Aphrodite, boys served as prostitutes in the temples. In Delphi, boys were made to dance in front of Apollo's temple. The Romans, while generally disapproving of homosexuality, considered boys to be sexual beings. Nero, emperor of Rome between 54 and 68 AD, derived so much pleasure from his relationship with Sporos, a 12-year-old boy, that he married him in a public wedding. Following Nero's suicide in 68 AD, Otho inherited the throne as well as the boy. Like the warriors of Sparta and Thebes, samurai warriors traveled and fought with their young apprentices. The young boys would learn the arts of sword fighting, horseback riding, and lovemaking. As late as the 1940s, the Itoro, Sambia, and Kaluli tribes of New Guinea practiced sex with children as a part of the traditional coming-of-age ceremony. Tribal elders were required to insert their semen into the youth's body. Semen was considered more potent than mother's milk and believed to enhance masculinity.
God calls homosexuality and lesbianism a horrible sin, but he wants to save you.
I can say that apropos of the occasion, it has many fond memories associated with it in which boys have gotten to know the car and gotten to know me. We're happy to be here. We feel that historically we are part of this movement for liberation.
Consensuality is the key. And unfortunately, I think that, well, being a survivor of sexual abuse, there's really kind of a thin line with power dynamics with older and younger people, but that doesn't mean that, you know, at age 5 I couldn't have made my own decision, or whatever, 12. I, Stormy Waltz, do pledge that it is okay for me to be on TV talking about what I didn't know.
If anybody looks at them and looks at us, then they'd have to say, well, it's all part of the rainbow, all part of the possibility of people living peacefully together, and that's what we're looking for.
But you understand that there isn't, that us or anybody else who's in this entire march today wants to have anything to do with those people back there.
We're not with those. We're not with those people. We're not with those people.
We don't want to be connected.
We don't
with
want to be.
people.
We don't want to be associated. I'm an incest survivor.
What do you think about this? Think the same.
These people are unfortunately borderline criminal behavior, and it is not representative of all of our community. They shouldn't be with us. They should be doing their own thing.
Everyone needs freedom of speech and freedom to be. As long as they don't act on what they believe, and that is to have sex with children, then they have a right to be here.
Okay, so what would you do about this, man?
What would I do about it? I think the best thing to do about it is just to watch you guys very carefully and ignore the fact that you have issues, because children are not yours.
So children are their own, are they
Children
not?
are their own, and they don't belong to you, and you don't need to have a campaign to get them.
Business comes first. Yeah. They think there's a buck out there.
They don't seem to understand that there's more bucks with straight people, more bucks in a straight person's pocket than there are gays, but just by the numbers. Okay.
Right now, I think we're at the very turning point of the homosexual revolution has gone to its peak, and now it's starting to take the curve down.